This chapter is just proof that when Yuto Suzuki is dedicating time and effort into putting his characters in exciting situations and building upon their already deep personalities, like watching a character like Nagumo interact with a character like Oki, two people that we know have history but have never actually interacted really on screen before until this point. The way that Suzuki is able to make these characters feel like old coworkers, make it feel like an employee who is hanging out with the boss that used to let them off the hook every once in a while. Because through this interaction between Nagumo and Oki, their relationship is given so much context in so little time. And honestly, I'll say it time and time again for the people that say like shonen is all just fights, it's all just fight scenes. Yuto Suzuki is a master of adding so much context, clarity, and just character dynamics into his fight scenes. We saw it last chapter with how Nagumo and Shishibo were able to make a simple dialogue between two characters who were at odds but still needed to go against the big bad and come to terms, made it so fun and exciting and reinvigorated energy in this story. You really see how quickly the community and how quickly the fandom changes tone on Sakamoto Days the moment action begins again. And it really sheds light on why sometimes moments like the aquarium arc can just feel like a stall or feel like a pause on what we love about Sakamoto Days. It's not that Sakamoto Days has never had all of that stuff in the story before, it's that the series is strongest when we're watching moments like this unfold, watching a character like Nagumo, who is so cheeky, so bold, and just so willing to annoy anyone. But you also see a side to Oki that we've never seen before. This soft side, this almost strict dad that has their favorite child that, while still trying to appear strict, lets them get away with stuff. Because again, if any other character, if any other X-Order member was to just pull up to Oki like this, grab a drink that Oki just bought from the vending machine, continually walk with Oki and talk about how I don't agree with what you're doing, I'm on the opposite side of you, we should join sides, and then they both disagree, you can kind of almost make out how similar these two characters are. And again, I can't praise Suzuki enough for when he does stuff like this. The way that Nagumo and Oki both ask each other to join the other side at the same time, and how they both completely disagree and say, you know what, hey, I have to do what I have to do. The way that Nagumo just gets in the car with Oki, and Oki drops the biggest bomb of all after again calling Nagumo arrogant, after Nagumo says, hey, I'm gonna give you a warning, you're gonna lose this fight if you continue on with this. You don't have me, you don't have Shishiba, you don't have Osaragi. We are your star players. You will not win without us. And of course, as we've seen with Oki right at the end of the prison arc, Oki is confident in his own abilities. He was willing to fight Kendaka, he was willing to fight Yotsumura, and in despite of all of this, with Oki not understanding Nagumo's personality, with Oki not understanding why someone like Yotsumura would risk recruiting two insolent brats like Sakamoto and Nagumo, Oki does lower the guard for a moment and admit, hey, you know, honestly, there was a moment that I had hoped you would lead the order and take my place. And that kind of recognition of not only Nagumo being the best suited person in the order to lead it, but also probably one of its strongest members to date with his ability to take down Gaku, his ability to not be threatened by people like Shishiba. There's a reason why Nagumo has been absent for so long from these critical events, and that's because he is one of the strongest characters in the series, and we have gotten confirmation of this from Oki. The fact that Nagumo, Shishiba, and Osaragi set off, based off the chapter name, they are all going to start their 1v1s after this. Almost like as a perfect parallel to the death row prisoner arc that's going on in the anime right now. Nagumo, Shishiba, and Osaragi are most likely, potentially me theorizing, are all gonna get their own dynamic fights after this against their own people. Osaragi will probably fight Kumanomi as that has been set up, and Shishiba will most likely be fighting Gozu. And I've got to say, this is what we should have gotten after Shin destroyed the gun plan. Having everyone show up at the aquarium, having Nagumo be absent simply for finding some kind of information. Imagine if this fight was a flashback and this is what Nagumo was doing while he was getting information, and it would explain why someone like Oki was absent from the aquarium arc. Stuff like that. And it shows that, like, there are ways that the story can make sense. And Suzuki has all of the great pieces in play, and sometimes it's just not executed well. But we love Sakamoto Days because how it can go from low to high in just a single chapter.
This video is sponsored by GamerSupps, the ultimate energy and focus formula. GamerSupps is an awesome drink made up of a bunch of vitamins like vitamin C, vitamin D3, B6, B12, and vitamin H. All super good for you and your health, so it's not one of those awful sugar-filled concoctions that's gonna make you crash after drinking it. If you're still skeptical about it, go check out the link and use my code anyway. They are more than willing to send you some free samples and give you a chance to try their product for free. Use my code NOOP now for 10% off, and thank you GamerSupps for sponsoring the channel.
And even though we don't get too much out of this fight between Oki and Nagumo, we do see that they're relatively close in power level, as Oki kind of foreshadowed earlier. These two characters, despite being in a close quarter situation right next to each other in the driver passenger seat of a car, in a knife fight, they're both able to cause serious damage to each other, stab each other, slash each other, and as the car tumbles down and explodes in perfect Sakamoto Days fashion, both Oki and Nagumo are able to escape the exploding car and enter the restaurant as everyone from behind the window was watching the car fly off and explode. They're ordering their next meal as hopefully the battle continues next chapter. And this isn't Oki giving up and saying, you know what, give me some coffee. You know what, Nagumo, you're right. I can't fight you. I am hoping that this is the string and gauntlet of 1v1s that we deserve for what may potentially be the final battle between Sakamoto's gang and Uzuki's gang. Because I know a lot of people are in my comments telling me all the time that this series still has plenty of chapters to go and we still have plenty of story arcs to go through. I think just with the way that Nagumo and Oki have been set up and how Uzuki is not continuing his plans of world domination or whatever you want to call his plans until he actually kills Sakamoto, this seems like the final battle to me, without a doubt. This seems like a huge final battle to me. And that is no more apparent than how the chapter funnily enough begins, but how I'm going to end the review off with Sakamoto in his potentially lethal state, heart stopped, restarted by Shin, getting taken care of by Granny Mia. He enters the void, a white blanket domain expansion, like Sukuna and Jogo if you're a Jujutsu Kaisen fan. And in this void, he meets Rion. He meets a cow. And in this stasis of limbo, of between life and death, Sakamoto finally has a chance to talk with the girl that inadvertently started this whole journey. We know from the beginning that the whole reason Rion refused to let go and release her personality from Uzuki was because she wanted Sakamoto to stop him. The whole reason that Sakamoto got that bounty put on him in the first place was because Rion knew the only person that could stop Uzuki from his plan was Sakamoto. So Sakamoto can't tap out yet. Sakamoto needs to awaken his full potential. Every other character on his team, Shin, Heisuke, even the recent additions of Kendaka, Yotsumura, the Order members, everyone has been fighting at their 110% except our main character. And I think this pep talk that Rion is going to give him will be exactly what he needs to succeed. And you know what? I just thought of a funny theory and a funny question for you guys to end this review with. How funny would it be, and how would you guys like if the way that Sakamoto was able to tap into his full power was by awakening the double personality of his own and having his own Rion slip into his body and help him fight? Wouldn't that be just fucking ridiculous? That'd be some Sakamoto Days shit if I've ever seen it. But yeah, like I said, that's just a funny gag at to end the video with, guys. I hope you enjoyed this chapter review. I hope you enjoyed this chapter and you're excited to see what the rest of Sakamoto Days has to offer, especially knowing that we're getting into some of these big final battles here. But I'll see you guys next week, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, catch the streams every Sunday if you can, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.